Hey everyone, it's Emma. Welcome to this very special video that I am doing as part of a blog post that I wrote for a fabulous and award-winning, thank you very much, lifestyle blog based here in Rhode Island called pattyj.com. And Patty J reached out to me to see if I would do a blog post about some of the makeup trends that I'm seeing for fall 2017. So I wanted to do an actual video on some of the trends that I talked about in that blog post. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to do a couple different looks, and all of the links for the blog post, for all of Patty J's stuff, will be linked in the description box below. So please do go check it out. Subscribe, follow, all of that good stuff. You won't regret it. It's fabulous. She's fabulous. We're all fabulous. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to start off with is skin. And one of the things that I have really been happy to see recently is a move towards a more natural looking finish on the skin. So not so much with the very heavy full coverage foundations and contours and all of that stuff, although that's still alive and well in the world of the YouTubes. But I am seeing a lot more of a natural, glowy, fresh face, which is my personal preference anyway, so it's really handy. So we're gonna start there. I'm gonna start my skin with a luminous primer. This is from Milani. This is called the Prime Light Face Primer. I really like this because A, it's at the drugstore, it's not that expensive. It has a nice smoothing effect on the skin, and it just makes, it's not sparkly or glittery, it just gives you a really wonderful kind of lit from within look. So I'm just gonna place this all over my face. If you already have really fabulous skin and you don't really use foundation or anything, this would be a great thing to put on its own. So for foundation, like I said, instead of using a very heavy full coverage product, I'm going to use a lighter weight product and work in layers to get a really flawless, fresh look on the skin that's not cakey or heavy, will last really well, and look really good face to face. I'm going in with this Buxom Show Some Skin Weightless Foundation. This is one of my favorites lately. I have it in the shade Tickle the Ivory. This is a great product because it blends into the skin really wonderfully, and it also layers well. So you can probably see I'm a little bit more red around my nose and around the kind of smile line area. So I usually like to add a little extra coverage to those places. So I usually start off with a light layer kind of everywhere. I just kind of slap it on messily. That way I can pretty much even out my skin tone, and then I have a better idea of the smaller areas that might actually need a little extra help. So I'm going to blend this in with a sponge. This is from Real Techniques. It's the Miracle Complexion Sponge. I really, really like it. You can use fingers, brush, whatever you prefer. Another thing I love about this foundation is it blends in very quickly. Bringing that down the neck. Now, of course, you could work with a fuller coverage product in the same way, just using a very little bit of it and blending it in really well, if that's what you have, if that's what you like. So that is one single layer all over. I always take way too much out. I'm just going to dip the sponge right into the product to just dab over my nose. This kind of space between my eyebrows that, again, just is, it's always red for some reason. Now to perfect any other little spots and to get rid of the under eye circles, I'm going to go in with a concealer. This one is from Wet n Wild. It's the PhotoFocus concealer. This is actually a really splendid concealer. Not just a splendid concealer for the price, but just a splendid concealer that also happens to be really inexpensive. So I'm just going to dot a little bit on the inner corner of my eye where it's darkest. And then My skin is in a pretty good shape right now, but I have a couple little spots. I would use this concealer in the same way. Light layers and, you know, packing on a little bit more just where you need it. So I'm actually going to use a brush to blend this in because I find it gives me the best finish. This is also from Real Techniques. It's the Deluxe Crease brush. Now for this first look, I'm not going to do any eye makeup. So I'm going to blend this concealer up onto my eyelid just to take down some of the darker color on my eyelid so everything blends in a little bit more seamlessly. And just using very light kind of a patting motion with the brush, I find leaves the most product where I want it and blends it out well. If your concealer doesn't quite match your skin tone, or you just feel like you need another little sandwich layer of product, you can take your foundation and just go right over top. Any spots you may have concealed on your face, just to blend it in with your foundation a little bit more. If you have a drier skin type, or you just really like the all over very dewy look, you could forego powder altogether. I personally like to powder all over, and I'm going to use a more natural finish powder. This is from NYX. It's called the No Filter Powder, #No Filter Powder, which is a silly name, but a very nice product. Taking that on a fluffy brush. This is from e.l.f., the Complexion Brush. It's a great brush for a whopping $3. And I'm just going to blend that powder all over my face. Now, you could also just kind of strategically place the powder. If, say, just your T-zone gets oily, you can just powder your nose, chin, you know, center of the forehead. Just for fun, to further amp up the glowiness, I'm going to add a powder highlight on top. This is a highlighter from Wet n Wild that is, again, not just really good for the price, but just really good. This is in the shade Precious Petals. They've recently come out with a few more shades as well that I certainly will be buying, even though I don't need them. Using an e.l.f. small tapered brush, I'm going to brush that on to the top of the cheekbone and up underneath the brow. So sort of in a really nice C shape. And then use a circular motion. Now, if you went a little heavy-handed, like I just did, you can take your foundation tool and just pat that into the skin. I always forget how intense this highlighter is until I'm putting it on my face. I like to keep my highlighter to that. My skin is usually pretty oily, so I'm going to create my own highlighter anyway. You can also add some right to the top of the brow, down the nose, on the chin, and on the Cupid's bow if you want to add a little extra glow. Now I'm going to go in with a blush, and I'm going to go in with a very neutral blush because I need a little color on my cheeks personally. You could forego blush if you like, but I need a little color, but I also want the face to, I don't want the blush to overpower whatever else we do on the face. So I'm going in with Milani's Romantic Rose Powder Blush, which is not only beautiful to look at, but it's a beautiful blush that on my skin tone is the perfect barely there sort of color. I like to start at the apple of the cheek and work my way up. And I actually really like, mostly people will add highlighter on after blush, but I actually really like to put blush on after highlighter because it again kind of keeps that lit from within sort of feel. So this is the finished skin look, and of course you can add, take away, find out which techniques, which products really work for your skin and which you like. Of course, all of this is subjective, and makeup should make you feel fabulous when you walk out the door. So, you know, you do you. The next trend I want to talk about is pops of color. I'm seeing a lot of really great color come into fashion recently. If you look at some of the fall 2017 runway makeup looks, some of the new makeup releases coming out, you will notice there is a lot of color, which to me is awesome. And one of the things that I'm really enjoying seeing is unusual lip colors coming into fashion. So today I'm going to do a unusual but wearable lip color, at least in my opinion. I'm going to do a purple lip. So we have the skin all set up. I'm going to start by adding a little mascara. Now, if you want to be really cool and right off the runway, you could forego the mascara, but I like mascara. My go-to mascara recently is from Essence. It's a whopping $5. This is the Lash Princess Sculpted Volume Mascara. It's the one with the purple detail. And this is just a fabulous mascara in my opinion. It adds a lot of length, volume, oomph. It's easy to work with. It's a little bit of a wet formula. I feel like it can get a little bit clumpy, which is a look I don't mind if I'm completely honest. If you prefer a more natural look to your lashes, get the Lash Princess that has the kind of mint green detail on it. I think it's called False Lash Effect. I feel like the name should be switched on these. For lips, I'm using a lipstick from Black Radiance, which is the same company that makes Wet n Wild. The shade is 5117, and it's just a really pretty purple color. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I dig myself a purple lip now and again. So there we have the first look done. And while this lipstick might seem a little out there, scary, paired with a very minimal, kind of no makeup-ish face, I think makes it really fresh and modern and wearable. If purple isn't your thing, that's totally fine. Rich berry tones, vampy colors always come back into a fashion this time of year. And those also look really great and fresh and modern paired with this sort of minimal base. For the next and final look, we're starting with the same skin base we did for the first one, but now we're just going to add some stuff on the eyes. So I'm actually going to start with an eyeshadow primer. This one is again from Wet n Wild. It's a really fabulous eye primer for any of my fellow peeps out there that have oily eyelids. There's absolutely no reason to spend a lot of money on an eyeshadow primer. If you have dry eyelids, the Milani eyeshadow primer is apparently really good. Now, one of the colors that I noticed was really popular on the runway looks was powder blue, which is something that I do enjoy. I have actually already done a video kind of in a similar vein using that color, so I will link it around and in the description box if you want to check that out. Today I'm going to use a different color that might be a little bit more wearable. While there were certainly a lot of very intricate, colorful looks, one of the things I noticed and I think makes colors a little bit more wearable is just using one shade. So that's what I'm going to do today. I actually have another video with a bright single shadow look, which I will also link. So I'm going to be using a really bright kind of yellow-green gold. This is a shade from an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, but you can use any color that you like. And I'm just using a $1 eyeshadow brush from e.l.f. And I'm going to pat this all over my eyelid. Packing on the color right into the lash line. Now, if you wanted to be kind of cool, you could just leave it like that and not blend it at all. Otherwise, you can take a fluffy brush. This is also from e.l.f. and just blend that color up towards the brow bone. So that's the eye look. Very simple, very clean, sparkly, pretty. You could use any color in the rainbow that you wanted to. And for lips, since we are moving into fall, I'm going to use a really rich, beautiful berry. This is a Too Faced Melted Lipstick. It's in the shade Melted Berry. This is one of my favorite berry lip colors, just generally. If you wanted to make this a little less intense, take a tissue or paper towel and just blot that lip into a really beautiful stain. You can add a gloss on top, because glosses are back, baby. Or leave it as is. I'm going to add a little bit of gloss on top of this to deepen it up a little and to add a little more shine. This is from NYX. This is one of their butter glosses. It's in the shade Devil's Food Cake. This is one of my favorite fall lip products. Sometimes I'll just wear this on its own. It does smell like Skittles, so if that would bother you, or it would bother you to crave Skittles, you might want to skip this particular shade. And there we have the finished second or third look, however you'd like to think of it. So just a quick recap. Natural looking, fresh, glowy skin, very much in. Pops of color. You can keep those colors modern and fresh looking by just sticking to one area of the face, one color, and also glossy lips. Can you tell I'm excited about that one? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please do be sure to check out the Patty J blog post, Patty J's blog in general, her Instagram. All of the links will be down below, like I said in the very beginning. And I thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, what do you think of some of the trends we're seeing in the fall 2017 season? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.